these spots, you go pray and all that. But Islam is everything everything we touch, working, everything. Okay. So the point of it is, it's not to be, for me, it's not to be. So I like what you said, Muslim American. It's different than being an American Muslim to me, because we're Muslim first. And for me, it's always going to be the case. I'm Muslim first. So if something is not going according to the Quran and the Sunnah, I'm against it. I don't care if it's American, whatever it might be. So when we're talking about local government, actually it's more important local than federal. Meaning, like, when you do stuff on the local, because that's what's going to benefit us on the local level, the policies, the procedures, and whatever, getting involved with, but not for the purpose of saying, I'm an American, I'm a Muslim, and these are issues that we all, Sister said right, we all have these things in common. So we need to address those, like in North Dakota, all those things are in common, because guess what? That's all Islam. All those things is affecting people in the world. Clean water, lack of water, food, all these things is Islam. So, two things, I agree with the sister, we need to be involved in stuff, but not to the point of saying we're American. We're Muslim, period. Unless you don't believe that, that's where that fear comes in at. These people who are fearful, it's amazing. And someone said, and I said, it's been said, Allah has put this in place. But guess what? Everything happens in the world, everything in life happens because Allah put it in place. So if this happens, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. All we have to do, I say all we, because it's harder for a lot of we to do this, is to have faith in Allah. And believe that, guess what? It's His will, and whatever His will be, and I'm going to do whatever I can in that respect, but not to the point of being American, no.
I wanted to return to allies, this idea of allies and coalition building from your government lens. What you think has the greatest impact? So right now we're seeing a flurry of sign-on letters, for example.
Yeah.
Do you just credit those letters if some of the allies who sign on are organizations that, for example, I had someone at DOJ who was basically prohibited with working with certain organizations. So do you see sign-on letters and say, oh, XYZ organization has signed on to this letter, do you just credit it, or do you looking for the breadth? I'm just curious the impact that has from the government perspective and what is moving the needle from in-house.
That's a good point. I would say that as a general rule, the broader, more diverse coalition, the more impact it has. To be able to see that, oh, this is not just the usual same groups advocating for the same issues. This is bigger than that. This is a broader coalition. I can't talk about specific instances, but there have been cases in just the past couple of weeks where an issue has been brought up to our attention with such a broad group of people that it was totally unexpected. Where you had a Muslim or an Arab-led, it was actually an Arab-American-led effort that had sign-on from Muslim groups, from LGBT groups, from Latino groups, from the NAACP, I think also signed on to it, the Anti-Defamation League signed on. So groups that also sometimes are at odds with each other had seemingly put aside their differences to say like we all are speaking with one voice on this issue. That is tremendously impactful. And I guess your more specific question was, if specific groups are on there that kind of hurt the overall credibility. I don't know. I can't comment specifically on it, but I think generally the broader it is and the bigger it is, the more it is apparent to government that, oh, well, this affects so many different people. I see enough sort of mainstream validating names on this that clearly this is legit, clearly this is credible, clearly this is something that is not just affecting one organization, it's affecting an entire community, and it's even more than that, it's many communities are being affected by this. That is always better. The other thing I will say about advocacy is that a lot of times people like to do things where, I guess I'll say the most effective form of advocacy is authentic narratives, is hearing an authentic experience from within a community or from an individual. That is what moves the needle more than anything else. Sometimes people will do this thing where like they'll all send the same letter to the White House. It's like the same like copy and paste. And it's an effective form. It's an effective tactic. It gets a lot of people involved very quickly because it's so easy. But it's not as powerful. It's not as powerful as having a personal story, a personal narrative, or a narrative from a community that is heartfelt and credible. That sometimes moves the needle more than anything else. I mean, that combined with data, like hard data, obviously, together makes the most compelling case. But I would say that quantity is not always the answer. The quality of the narrative that's being pushed and being represented sometimes trumps the quantity. No pun intended.
I mean, that's one of the things that I realized, I think, working over there, is that I didn't realize that one letter can make its way from, you know, correspondence to the president. And if it's a powerful enough narrative, then, I mean, people are reading these letters that are sent to the president. And maybe I was naive. I didn't really think the letters got read. But to know that these letters, they're read, and, you know, when I mean, you can have personal stories from young people especially who are really experiencing, you know, various levels of trauma now, you know, in terms of what's going on in society. Those personal stories and those personal narratives get to the president, and they actually have an impact. And I think his personal understanding of the issues and his, you know, commitment to making, you know, change at all levels of his administration, I found.
Yes, there's a good example of that. One young lady, her name is Aisha. She lives in Seattle, Washington. She's Somali American. She's 15 years old. She wrote this letter to the president without any idea that anybody would ever read it. And she said, "Mr. President, I love this country. My family fled Somalia to come to this country to seek a new world. However, I'm growing up both as a Muslim and as a black person in this country, and on a daily basis I experience both Islamophobia and anti-black racism. People scream at me and try to rip off my hijab, and they call me the N-word while they're doing it." And it was one of the most heartfelt, heartbreaking letters ever. And it ended up on the president's desk. And the president read it, and so anytime the president reads a letter that specifically involves the Muslim community or something like that, it gets back to me, and I have to read it and help, you know, develop a response. We ended up bringing Aisha to the White House for the Eid celebration, and she ended up introducing the president at the Eid celebration. And she was, and this was a room full of like 300 or 400 Muslim American leaders, and she said to us, she was like, "I had no idea that anybody would ever read my letter, and I also had no idea that anybody would actually care what I had to say." She literally said that. She said, like, the people in this room, they're all adults, they all like have very successful careers. Why would they care what I have to say? And afterwards, all the people that were there just swarmed her, and the president was there as well, and thanked her, and like, you know, and was so, you know, encouraging. And she has to go back to that daily reality of, like, it's not like everything changed for her and it's gonna be great for her, but she has that new confidence in her voice, knowing that her voice will be heard, that she did not have before that experience. And again, it's because she was so heartfelt and sincere, and the letter that she wrote was just her own personal experience. It cut through so much static. Because theoretically and academically, a lot of people in government know that the Muslim community is facing these issues. They know it. But it's all numbers. It's all aggregate data. It's all big picture stuff. We know the Muslim community is under attack. But when you have specific narratives that can cut through all of that and get right to the heart of the issue, it makes a huge difference. Another good example is Khizr Khan and Ghazala Khan, this past election cycle. Two people who lost, who lost their son in the way of service. I mean, their story penetrated the American consciousness so quickly and so fast. A lot of it has to do, yes, because of the fact that they were a military family. But a lot of it has to do is because he got up there and when he spoke from the heart. And it was a truly authentic narrative. And that cut through, again, a lot of the rhetoric from both sides. So anyway, and a lot of this is because I was an English major in college. And so I always like talking about the power of storytelling. But it's true, I mean, you see results. And me being in the White House in the past few months, I've seen time and time again the most effective things that have worked have been narratives that are creatively told and creatively presented, and that gets to people's hearts and minds at the same time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, that the argument or the opinions of whether we're Muslim or American first Imam W. Muhammad brought it down to the level of Muslim means human. So if you understand that we all are human, and therefore if you understand the definition of a Muslim, then all humans are Muslim. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, or reported to have said, that every child is born a Muslim. It's only the environment in which they are influenced by makes them other than a Muslim. Now, Allah doesn't need anything from us. We pray to Allah, we worship Allah, but Allah don't need that from us. That's for us. So how do we serve Allah? We serve Allah by serving humanity, by helping our brothers and sisters in humanity. So if we want to become influential in this country, then we better identify with this country. And this country is called America. And so me, myself, I'm a Muslim veteran. I'm also the commander of the Muslim American Veterans Association. And I'm glad you brought up Kizza Khan, because his son and many other Muslims have died in defense of America, in defense of the flag, in defense of this country. Even this museum, Amir calls it America's Islamic Heritage Museum. So we got a history here, and we don't want to throw that away. We need to document it, and as you say, tell the stories, report the stories, and try to make them more louder than these other narratives that are most of the time are lies, you know, that's going on in society. So that's my stance.
Okay. Any other questions?
It's not question, it's comment.
If it's short, because we're going to wrap it up.
Short, yes. I make an interview with Dr. Safi Qasqas. He's Muslim think. He make a book, very easy book, translate Quran, the explanation for Quran, because we should be frank that a lot of tafsir Quran, Bin Kathir and other 700 years ago, they are not suitable for this this time. Yes, and a lot of people, ISIL also, they use Al-Sunnah to, you know, to say violent, and Islam is a peace religion, and God asks us to defend ourselves but not attack other. In even in the war, in جنحوا إلى السلم فاجنح لها. We need to renew people to know exactly what is Quran. If they know what is Quran in an easy way and understand, maybe they will change their idea.
Sister Raheemah, Brother Zaki, we appreciate y'all coming and sharing your experience, your insights. Before we wrap up, if you'd like to say any few last words that you'd like to say to us or the people that we're going to put on Facebook, take a few seconds.
No, I just think this was a wonderful program. I think that it's fitting that this is the end to, I think, the government service month of November. To have Zaki and I here at the America's Islamic Heritage Museum, as the brother said. I think that this museum, I think, at this, now more than ever, I think this museum is so important because it really shows the diversity of the American Muslim community. It also shows just the breadth and longevity with which Muslims have been in America, and I think if we help reframe the narrative of who are Muslims in America and help explain that to the larger world, so that people come to this museum and learn more about who Muslims are. And in each room you see Muslims who have been here since the slave trade days. Then you see Muslims over here on this wall over here, you know, the first Muslim judge in the United States, you know, Imam, Brother Adam Shakur. So I think when you learn more about this rich history of Islam in America, you get a chance to learn more about that Muslims have been contributing to this country since its founding. And I think that is a narrative that needs to be told, and it's an important story that I think will help people dispel lots of negative stereotypes and misconceptions about who Muslims are. Muslims are a religion of peace. Muslims are people who are willing and are serving humanity.
I mean,
I would just echo completely what Sister Raheemah said, which is that now more than ever, it's important that our community realizes that as much as it seems like the angriest voices are the ones that we always hear, we have so much to be proud of. We as a community have been a part of the fabric, Muslims have been a part of the fabric of this nation since before America was America. It's a fact that is often lost, not only in the broader American community, but also Muslims ourselves. And it's important for us to always remember that we have that tradition that exists, that goes back for so long, because it means that, again, we as a Muslim community have nothing to apologize for. We have everything to be proud of. And Muslims in this country are leading the way in every conceivable field, from business to health to medicine to the arts to sports. We have been a part of this nation for generations and generations. We will be for generations and generations to come. And the best thing that we can do is continue